now go on to our next speaker, Dr. Eliza Anthony, who is a medical consultant UVR services from Aravind Eye Hospitals, Chennai. And she is going to be talking on another interesting topic, nyctalopia and uveitis. On to you, Doctor.
A very good evening to everyone. And at the outset, I will thank Chitra ma'am and all the AIOS members for giving me this opportunity. So here I'm going to present nyctalopia and uveitis, although it is infrequently encountered, but it's very important to establish the diagnosis. So here what causes it is any kind of inflammatory or infective insult or genetic defects can lead to cell death of primary photoreceptor rods, which triggers the inflammation and causes upregulation of inflammatory cytokines and chemokines, which sets up an inflammatory milieu and causes further cell degradation and cytotoxic effect on the other photoreceptors like cone. That's how the cones get involved in the late stages. So another point to add is systemic inflammation can also be associated with progression of nyctalopia and RP. So we see most of the uveitis conditions are associated with systemic inflammation. So how do we diagnose nyctalopia? Apart from the history and comprehensive visual field testing, contrast sensitivity is very important, including ERG. So top on the list for nyctalopia is RP, and one of the masquerader for uveitis. So we have a series by Majumdar et al. Where he has described RP association with anterior and intermediate uveitis. Then we recently published a case of bilateral occlusive vasculitis where right eye had inflammatory CRVO. So it was diagnosed with presumed intraocular tuberculosis, and over 7 months with treatment, there was a significant improvement. And you will see ERG, as he had nyctalopia and RP, it was totally extinguished. And discussing the OCT, we see the left eye, the macular edema, the initial macular edema resolved very well with oral steroid and ATT in the left eye. But in the right eye, it did not respond well. So here we have to give 6 injections of intravitreal eccentrics, which at the end of 7 months, there was improvement, although there was a minimal macular edema left here, few cystoid spaces. So here we put patient on topical dorzolamide. So this is another case where RP and the inverse RP with nyctalopia, this patient was detected to have incidental Fuchs anterior uveitis. So this is again one association with RP. Now this case is here a young male presented with progressive nyctalopia. And there was outer retinal disruption on imaging, minimal inflammation, which worsened on oral steroids. So here systemic workup revealed syphilis. So he was a case of syphilitic outer retinopathy who presented with progressive nyctalopia. So this should be kept in mind in those infectious conditions which affect the outer retina. Again, uveitis can be associated with nyctalopia because of the underlying retinal pathologies, like choroideremia has been associated with recurrent anterior uveitis. Birdshot retinochoroidopathy, although not very common in India, but because the moderate and severe damage of rods and cone is associated with nyctalopia. So we see 8 out of 11 patients had nyctalopia. Multiple case reports prove this association, and here it's associated with HLA-A29, which causes upregulation of T-cell associated cytokines, which primarily causes outer retina damage and photoreceptor damage, and hence leads to nyctalopia. So we have these Tregs, which is regulatory T cells, also upregulated in serum of this patient. And the same findings are also seen in Behçet's and VKH, which would have the same pathology, how nyctalopia can be associated with these diseases also. So this is a very old case report where VKH was associated with nyctalopia. Now, this is an interesting case where a girl at an age of 19, she had VKH. She was treated with immunosuppressive and steroids and no recurrences following that. But at age of 28, she had recent onset nyctalopia. Like for 2 years, she was having nyctalopia. And on fundus examination, there was PPCRA. So again, pigmented paravenous retinochoroidal atrophy can be associated with inflammatory and infectious causes. And that's when it is called pseudo-PPCRA. It's been reported to be associated with Behçet's, syphilis, post-measles, and birdshot chorioretinopathy. Again, Usher's syndrome and uveitis have shown association. And here, nyctalopia was associated with bilateral granulomatous uveitis of unknown etiology. Now, Azure again, in this report, they have demonstrated known finding that anti-retinal antibodies get upregulated in the vitreous, which are toxic to the photoreceptors. And this causes nyctalopia. So here among 25 patients, 56% of the patients had nyctalopia in Azure. Celiac disease, again, associated with recurrent uveitis, as well as nyctalopia. But here nyctalopia is because of vitamin A deficiency, which the patient has secondary to malabsorption. A word about paraneoplastic syndrome, which are the known masquerader for uveitis. So we have CAR and MAR. So here again, clinical and history is very important. Adding to it is ERG. So basically CAR, where the antigenic response is primarily to the recoverin that is directed towards the photoreceptors. So here we have severely attenuated both A waves and B waves. But in MAR, it's basically directed, the antibodies are directed to bipolar cells. So it is the B wave which is attenuated here. So these patients, both CAR and MAR, presents with nyctalopia, photopsia, and blurred vision. Then this is an interesting prospective study where they have compared the amelioration of nyctalopia in normal patients and in uveitic eyes. And they have told that the amelioration of nyctalopia after cataract surgery in uveitic eyes is definitely inferior to normal patients. So that means all kind of uveitis does have some degree of delayed dark adaptation. So they included cases of sarcoidosis, Behçet's, VKH, as well as uveitis associated with non-tuberculous mycobacterium and VCV. So a word to add about Behçet's, where contrast sensory can be reduced or delayed dark adaptation can be there even because of the cranial, parenchymal, and vascular involvement, not just the photoreceptors or the retinal damage per se. Now, glaucoma, which is known complication of uveitis, can further worsen the dark adaptation in uveitic eyes. PRP, again, a few studies have reported that it delays the dark adaptation. So it's frequently used in treatment of uveitis. So you have to be very judicious and careful and preferably do FFA guided and not being so aggressive. So why nyctalopia was very important in taking this history is first to establish the diagnosis of the complete ocular pathology, and second, to give them a good lifestyle. So management of nyctalopia and uveitis is also very important. So here we have different night vision aids which can give them a better quality of vision, as well as right now new innovation by Arvind is the smart vision glasses, which incorporates artificial intelligence. And then we have multiple other LVAs like reverse telescopes and side vision awareness glasses, which increases your visual field, because most of these patients, they have constricted fields associated with nyctalopia. Again, having good lighting
And we have 1
conditions.
minute remaining.
Yes, this is my last slide. So, so having good lighting condition, again, counseling them to have better enhancement of contrast and brightness, especially on their mobiles and computers. This is really helpful. So, thank you. And though it is so infrequent, but we can see there are many cases which can be associated with nyctalopia and uveitis.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful talk, Doctor. Just one question to you, that if these patients with the chronic anterior uveitis develop CME, would it be that they would not follow the normal course of response to topical medication? You need to get more aggressive with the Ozurdex implant or something like that, or they can be easily managed?
No, yeah, coming to this is like we have seen if it's nyctalopia and uveitis and CME, most commonly cases that we see is retinitis pigmentosa. So the CME associated with retinitis pigmentosa, normally it's very stubborn, like even the Machumna et al. Studies they have shown, although some cases might respond to intravitreal steroid, but there is recurrence. So preferably what people give is oral acetazolamide or topical dorzolamide eye drops. If the CME is really large enough, then we can think about systemic steroids or regional steroids. But if it's just minimal CME, like in the end how the patient had minimal CME, it will not go. Patient will have 6 part vision, and we can try this topical dorzolamide and or oral acetazolamide long term.
So expert panel, questions, discussions from you all? Dr. Avinash?
Dr. Elisa, just a second, sir. You mentioned of giving an intravitreal anti-VEGF, that is ranibizumab, in one of your cases, when it was nyctalopia with RP with CME. Yes. So any reason? Because many of us use the steroids, and you also just now said that steroid is going to be the mainstay, and IVTA or the DEX implants. Or,
the reason why we chose, because the patient lens was clear. When this young patient came, he had a clear crystalline lens, and he had an ischemic CRVO in the right eye. And we gave him steroids. The left eye totally became flat in a month. There was no ME. in the left eye, but the right eye CME did not improve. So we thought, as ranibizumab has already been proved to be used in inflammatory macular edemas, to give Eccentrix, and it showed good response. So we thought if we give him Ozurdex or something, he can develop a PSC, and that will cause reduction in vision. So because he was a young patient with clear lens, we tried Eccentrix and it gave good results. And CRVO responded very well. The ischemic, because it was extensive hemorrhages, ischemic CRVO. So we preferred ranibizumab.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Avinash, you have something to add?
Yes, I think what you touched upon is something which is extremely important. You did mention about cataract, glaucoma, and cataract is a reversible cause of nyctalopia if at all it is extensive. But overall, any of the disease which primarily affects the photoreceptors extensively can cause, and this is very underreported or not discussed with the patient as much as we are in terms of controlling the inflammation. Now, one of the challenging situations is many times you would be able to see in multifocal choroiditis or an extensive leakage which is being treated, you will be able to know the disease. But about a condition where the person acquires a recent acquired nyctalopia and you peep into the fundus, everything looks perfectly all right. And that's where we have to consider autoimmune retinopathy or cancer-associated retinopathy as one of those important differential diagnoses, especially in an elderly population. Now, Pagba, can I ask you this question? So what would be your take on AIR and in cancer-associated retinopathy?
Basically, as you said, the fundus looks normal. The patients will be progressively losing vision, and ERG will help us to make the diagnosis. And also anti-retinal antibodies, even though they are not specific, that can be used as an additional measures. These patients, we start them with systemic steroids and systemic immunosuppressive therapy. Spite of that, they have progressive vision loss in majority cases.
Yeah, I also agree totally with Padma Malini. I had at least 4 or 5 cases. Many of them were sarcoid uveitis. They developed autoimmune retinopathy and absolute control of inflammation, not even single cell, but they progressed to lose vision. When the inflammation gets under control, but they progress to lose vision completely. And as she rightly mentioned, antibody as well as ERG changes can help in the diagnosis. The striking feature is for years they had vitreous cells. Suddenly vitreous cells, everything cleared, but they started developing autoimmune retinopathy.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point both of you brought up, where there's associated rapid visual loss along with nyctalopia, which is one of the very characteristic of this condition. Mayur, do you have any experiences in your practice? Because you see a lot of systemic disease in Bombay Hospital.
Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do see a lot of nyctalopia which is associated with uveitis. In fact, was one of my doubts whether you've diagnosed nyctalopia and uveitis. Is there any way in which these can be treated? Because I have got cases of leakage where the inflammation is completely under control. They are on immunomodulation, yet they continue to lose night vision specifically.
I think, shall I move on to the next speaker?
Sir, Madam, there is one question from the audience,
Yeah.
to Dr. Eliza, about the reversal of the nyctalopia after the treatment. If it is not an RP, you mentioned many other, like a bird shot or ocular tuberculosis and all those things. So after treatment, what's the state of reversal of the nyctalopia is one question being put up.
The reversal of nyctalopia definitely depends why the nyctalopia is happening. Like if it's RP, it will not reverse. Only the inflammation will
No,
go.
not RP. Any other forms of diseases where you...
So as I mentioned, the other forms of diseases, like even if you say the existing photoreceptor damage, normally if we see once the photoreceptors is damaged, it's very rare that they regenerate and the damage could be reversed. So I think a larger study where a follow-up ERG is done pre-treatment and post-treatment, it can give us a better objective answer to this question. However, as I see in VKH, we see once the sunset glow fundus comes, it does not reverse. So once the uveitic pathology and the degenerative changes have progressed, if the changes are not reversed, it's very unlikely the nyctalopia will also reverse. However, some conditions we can do a study of ERG. If to some degree there is an improvement, we need to see. But for that, we need a prospective study with pre and post ERG.
I think Srinivas, one point which she did touch was in malabsorption syndromes. Where that's the one where if it's associated with uveitis, those are the ones which can reverse.
Can reverse. Okay.
Yeah, the celiac
Yeah.
disease. Yeah, which I
Vitamin
mentioned.
A deficiency.
Vitamin A deficiency.
Yeah. That is for sure. That is for sure. That Dr. Dastikov asked this question. Thank you.
Thank you.